The president is set to meet with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson today, with his top legislative agenda item still hanging in the balance.
I am thrilled to declare that America is back.
President Trump on the National Mall last night, kicking off the weekend celebration of America 250. There were military flyovers and a promise for an end to the war in Iran.
We are finally going to have peace in the Middle East. We're going to have peace in the Middle East.
That after the president was on Capitol Hill for some in-person lobbying. He convinced Senate Republicans to vote again and reverse a measure that had called for him to end the war. But there was still a great deal of tension.
We like our leader. We like everybody really in the room. I don't like a few people, but that's okay. I think you know who they are.
There were reports of a yelling match with Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy. And the president is trying to force passage of the SAVE Act, his voter ID requirements, refusing to sign a big bipartisan housing package unless it happens. Democrats were furious.
Sign the bill, Mr. President. Americans want housing costs to go down.
The president, though, talking about costs at the pump. AAA says gas prices rose just a bit again overnight, and he blames oil companies for not lowering them fast enough now that more ships are transiting the Strait of Hormuz.
The oil companies are possibly gouging. I hope they're not, otherwise they're going to be in big trouble. They're going to be in big trouble. We're not going to play games.
And while oil prices are almost back to where they were before the war, there is generally a lag before those savings make their way to the pump. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
A new route for ships to get through the Strait of Hormuz appears to be getting tankers out to the open seas. Today, a series of tankers led by one called the Stoic Warrior left the Persian Gulf and followed the coastlines of the United Arab Emirates and then later Oman, going around the Musandam Peninsula before heading into the Gulf of Oman. Now, Iran has been very upset about this. Its Revolutionary Guard, that paramilitary force which wields so much power in the country, had told ships that only it could authorize them to leave the Strait of Hormuz. But this new route that's been opened with Oman, as well as the United Nations agency known as the International Maritime Organization, is allowing these ships to get out. We have seen an uptick in the number of ships getting out, the highest numbers ever actually, with some 70 getting out in the last day or so. And that's nowhere near what it was before the war, but it's showing that things are kind of getting back to normal. Now, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. The tensions between the United States and Iran remain high, even with this interim deal having been signed to try to seek a permanent end to the war. And meanwhile, we are also seeing global crude oil prices drop. They touched briefly to pre-war levels today, just showing how much the markets believe that the worst is over, but there are still a lot of challenges ahead.
The Cottonwood Fire could end up being the most catastrophic wildfire in Utah history.
Because the fire has been so destructive, because it's burning so hot and so fast, we haven't been able to get in and assess all of the loss there, but it's certainly catastrophic.
Tens of thousands of acres are already scorched. As of Wednesday night, officials say it was 0% contained.
We knew it was going to be a very difficult fire season, knew it would start early, and sure enough, it has happened.
Other parts of the nation are also dealing with significant meteorological problems. Residents across Colorado are on high alert as forecasters are calling for hail, strong winds, and tornadoes, which are expected to last throughout Thursday and into Friday. Over in Oklahoma, people are confronting the aftermath of heavy rains that caused floods, sending crews to perform water rescues from Tulsa to Ataka County.
We saved them all, got them all out of their vehicles, no injuries, so we're lucky in that aspect.
And in West Virginia, massive downpours drenched Logan and Boone counties, leaving people with a lot of cleanup to do.
Got 4 feet in my garage, 2 feet in my house. It was up above my hood on my tractor. It was a major mess.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
El más fuerte y fue largo, fuerte, fue muy fuerte. Nunca se nos había roto nada en ningún temblor y se nos rompió todo dentro de la casa, todos los vasos, todo cayó, todas las copas, todo. Vamos a poner a mi mamá. ¡No puede ser! ¡No puede ser, Antonio!
¿Mi mamá? Chamo, vamos. A buscarla. Chamo María, huevón. María. Ya va. Por aquí, ven. 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 Acompáñame, ven.
Earthquakes typically happen on faults. Faults are deep fissures in the ground, or cracks, where motion between two rocks on either side of the fault can occur. Earthquakes typically start at the end of a long cycle of building up stress along a fault, where in any given year you're sort of pulling that rubber band apart slowly, and eventually you get to the point where the rubber band doesn't move anymore, won't stretch anymore. An earthquake happens right at the point where you would stretch it just a little bit more and that rubber band would break. Earthquakes become dangerous when they are close to infrastructure and people. Typically we think of earthquakes of magnitude 5 and greater as being hazardous, and in any given year in the continental United States there's about 10 of those sized magnitude earthquakes.
Typically, earthquakes last maybe a few minutes for large earthquakes, down to just a few tens of seconds for smaller earthquakes. Earthquakes travel really, really fast, about 10 times faster than your commercial jet plane. But it's going to produce seismic waves that can travel around and around and around the world multiple times for a large earthquake. To feel an earthquake, often you feel a little dizzy. You're not quite sure what's going on because the seismic waves are whizzing by so fast. But eventually people realize, oh, it's shaking from the ground, and then they're going to jump into action, drop, cover, hold on.
Here's a look back at some of the most powerful earthquakes in recorded history.
Trouble and ruin in the Pacific port of Concepcion in Chile.
Known as the Great Chilean Earthquake, a 9.5 magnitude quake struck a central region in Chile in 1960. More than 1,600 people died in the country and beyond. Most deaths were caused by a resulting tsunami. In 1964, a 9.2 earthquake jolted Alaska, lasting for almost 5 minutes. More than 130 people were killed in the largest recorded earthquake in the US and subsequent tsunami. The event was followed by thousands of aftershocks for weeks after the initial quake. In 2004, a 9.1 magnitude quake and tsunami devastated Southeast Asia, South Asia, and East Africa, killing 230,000 people, over 167,000 people in Indonesia alone. Entire communities were wiped out. Another 9.1 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of northeastern Japan in 2011, triggering a towering tsunami that smashed into the Fukushima nuclear plant. It knocked out power and cooling systems and triggered meltdowns in 3 reactors. More than 18,000 people were killed in the quake and tsunami. In 1952, a magnitude 9 earthquake caused significant damage in the Russian peninsula of Kamchatka, but there were no reported deaths despite a tsunami that hit Hawaii with 30-foot waves.
Muy contento, la verdad bastante feliz de que México nos diera un triunfo histórico. Por primera vez ganó sus 3 partidos de la fase de grupos. Muy contento.
Increíble, el partido excelente. Ese segundo gol no me lo veía venir, pero llegó y estuvo.
Del tercero.
¡Viva mi selección!
Del tercero.
Vamos y vamos por más victorias.
FIFA says soccer and politics don't mix. But on Friday, that principle is being put to the test as soccer jerseys mix with rainbow flags. And a bigger question takes center stage. Is celebrating Pride a statement of inclusion or a political message that conflicts with FIFA's commitment to neutrality? Pride, politics, and protest will all converge at Seattle Stadium Friday. The start of Pride weekend and the Egypt and Iran match fall on the same day.
This is our Pride Match Day official scarf.
Hedda McClendon is helping roll out the swag. She's a vice president with the local FIFA organizing committee that's calling the game a Pride match.
It's an opportunity to be visible for lots of people that are queer and can't, for various reasons, actually be out and live who they are.
Both countries' football federations have filed complaints with FIFA, citing a violation of the organization's rule for political neutrality. In Iran, same-sex relationships can carry severe criminal penalties, including lashes, prison, and even the death penalty.
We did not consider canceling it, ever.
Seattle's organizing committee says the plan was set before the teams were ever drawn.
It was part of the design of our original bid to host the games in Seattle, part of what we were planning to do.
The match comes amid months of war between America and Iran, and as the U.S. imposes strict travel restrictions on the nation's respective teams. But despite the geopolitical backdrop, McClendon is still optimistic.
I am hoping that the stadium and the Seattle skyline are full of rainbows.
And when asked directly if branding the match around Pride is political,
I think it is a showcase of Seattle.
she didn't dispute it outright.
Ultimately, I think our message is, hey, everybody is welcome.
And FIFA has not commented on calls to cancel local Pride branding and celebrations, but the local committee says rainbow flags are allowed inside during the game. In the studio, I'm Chris Malderas, King 5 News.
It's game day again, and while they're already moving on, Team USA is looking to go into the round of 32 undefeated. There's a lot for fans to celebrate as Team USA heads into its last game of the World Cup group stage, having earned back-to-back wins so far, a first since 1930. They face off against Turkey later tonight here at Los Angeles Stadium. Win or lose, Team USA has already secured a spot in the knockout round of 32. Their first match is scheduled for July 1st at San Francisco Bay Area Stadium and could wind up being against Bosnia. Still, athletes say they don't plan on backing down on the pitch today.
Everybody's been grinding.
Christian Pulisic has still been training after missing the last match against Australia because of a left leg injury.
I care obviously for this team so deeply, just like we all do, and I just want us to win, whether I'm playing or not playing.
But with the knockouts getting closer, head coach Mauricio Pochettino will determine whether Pulisic should wait to play.
I think it's evolving really well.
This as increasing demand for tickets to Team USA's first knockout round match are driving up prices.
There's got to be 1 million people who would like to be at that match, including me.
So how much did you pay?
I don't want my wife to find out.
Meanwhile, tens of thousands will be getting ready to pack into Los Angeles Stadium tonight, while others cheer on teams from watch parties nationwide. In Los Angeles, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
On paper, the job market looks promising and unemployment rate is low. So why are so many people struggling to get hired right now? In May, job gains came in leisure and hospitality, healthcare, and local government. But if you're not looking for opportunities in those industries, it can be tough to land a new position. But there is good news.
We've started to see that hiring activity pick up across the board.
Dawn Fay with recruiting firm Robert Half says they recently conducted a survey among U.S. hiring managers and found 32% of those who eliminated positions after implementing AI are now rehiring for those roles or similar ones.
They're actually bringing employees back into the organization to basically be able to handle the workload that they thought AI was going to be able to replace.
Fay says instead, companies are now relying on AI to take on more routine tasks.
The communication, the judgment, the oversight, the institutional knowledge that employees have, that the technology up to this point is just not being able to kind of replace all of that.
If you're looking for a new job, Faye recommends writing a cover letter that highlights your accomplishments and explains why you want to work there. Don't just apply online. Track down a hiring manager and reach out to them directly.
I know it can take it some time and be a little frustrating. Stay with it and don't feel like you've got to wait 2 or 3 months till the summer ends.
If you do land an interview, Faye suggests asking what their timeline is to hire for the position and what the next steps are in the interview process. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Waymo recalls more than 3,800 autonomous taxis. The recall affects vehicles that use the company's fifth-generation automated driving system. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the software may allow a Waymo vehicle to enter a closed freeway construction zone. Waymo says it's because the software may fail to recognize the zones or prioritize other highway hazards. In separate instances in Phoenix and the San Francisco Bay Area, Waymo vehicles entered pre-planned construction zones or active construction lanes. Waymo says there are no collisions or injuries reported in any of those incidents. A woman in Texas is suing Tesla after one of the company's Model 3 vehicles crashed into her home and killed her mother. The crash happened June 19th in Katy. A 76-year-old woman was killed. The driver says he was using the vehicle's autonomous full self-driving technology at the time of the crash. Tesla CEO Elon Musk wrote on X that the crash made no sense as the full self-driving technology drives slowly through neighborhood streets. And Elon Musk is no longer a trillionaire. As of Wednesday, his net worth is valued at $946 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. The drop came after shares of Tesla and SpaceX fell during a broader tech sell-off. That's business. CJ Papa, Fox News.
It started with subtle, unexplained symptoms in high school, but Lily Honeycutt's health continued to decline with chronic illnesses, stomach problems, and eventually exhaustion and serious infections.
By the time I was in my late 20s, I just kind of fell off a cliff with my symptoms.
This avid runner says she went from half marathons to barely being able to walk a block and sleeping 18 hours a day. She knew something was wrong, but says doctors blamed it on stress or diet, factors within her control.
I spent a long time believing that it was something that I was doing and trying to change my behavior.
Honeycutt says one doctor who listened, plus one abnormal blood test result and a specialist referral equaled an answer after 15 years of symptoms, a diagnosis of common variable immunodeficiency.
It was incredibly validating for the most part. Just kind of in disbelief that it was actually happening.
Honeycutt now pushes for patients without answers to advocate for their health by doing 4 things. First, trust your body. Second, it's okay to find another doctor, something she wishes she would have done sooner. Third, get a support system. She says there are online forums and websites with other people who have mystery chronic illnesses. And finally, hold on to hope.
There are lots of options to consider other than it's all in your head. So if you're hearing a doctor jump to that, just move on to the next one.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A sacred moment for many families, dinner time.
Dinner is a time when parents and children can have the important discussions of life.
But according to a new study, that precious time is being interrupted by technology.
We found that it's really pervasive, but I think we didn't expect it to be that high.
The study published in JAMA Pediatrics found that nearly 70% of children from the adult participants in the study used some form of media during their last family meal.
Media.
Study co-author Cecilia Sara-Garibay.
We found that children use also a lot of media, but parents do it significantly more. And parents are the ones that are setting the example.
That is one of the major issues of the findings, say pediatric health experts. More than 7 out of 10 adults in the study use tech during their last family dinner.
When phones or screens are at the table, they're really competing with conversation, with eye contact, with listening. And when a phone is being used, particularly by a caregiver during a meal, a child may experience that as, well, something else is more important than me.
The impacts may go beyond that, with caregivers missing the opportunity of what distraction-free family meals provide.
It also allows caregivers to be able to identify potential patterns that may change over time. So if children have certain friends or if they're dressing a certain way and that maybe shifts quickly, that can be an indication that there may be some risk behaviors happening.
In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
Few names are as revered as Dutton, but Rio Paloma's my town, and I work very hard to protect it.
The Dutton Ranch finale is set for July 3rd, but it won't be the end of the hit show. The Yellowstone spinoff was just renewed for a second season, and that shouldn't come as a surprise. The show has been a ratings juggernaut, with a record-shattering debut as the most-watched launch in Paramount Plus history.
I want success. Get it for me.
Success at last for another series in the Taylor Sheridan universe, on the award show stage, that is. After failing to win Golden Globes and Screen Actors Guild Awards, Landman is set to pick up its first trophy, the Academy of Country Music's Film Award, recognizing movies and shows that prominently feature country music. Landman will receive the prize at August's ACM Honors in Nashville.
Is this real? Is he gonna die?
It's true. We are witches and the curse is true.
I will never trust you again.
We're getting our best look yet at Practical Magic 2. Warner Brothers just conjured up the first full-length trailer. The sequel to the 1998 romantic fantasy brings Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman together again. Practical Magic hits cinemas in September. In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
I'm in Paris. I'm doing that fashion thing.
Angelina Jolie stars as a film director who receives a breast cancer diagnosis while working on Paris Fashion Week in Couture.
I've received your results. You'll have to see someone as soon as possible.
But it's not serious, right? I mean, it's not a thing. It's not.
The challenge was to just be open and let go into Alice's hands, because that was, sharing this intimacy with another woman and the openness of so much that's so personal. But once I did, it was a wonderful experience, and then the challenge was only the French.
I think women who bear scars can be stronger when they share their wounds together, and I think it's really what we did with Angelina.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Don't tell me nothing. I mean, you just woke up the set like that.
I had an appointment I couldn't change.
I think for anybody that struggled through anything, when that aspect of your life takes over your whole life and you stop feeling like you're a whole person. And I think what's beautiful about this is there's a real push to be all of us in our own way in the film and in life, to live to the last moment of your life.
There's a chance I may die.
Everybody's gonna die.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Taking a look at a bonanza of wild and wonderful stuff, rapid fire style. Here we go. Wedding bells and water slides. A North Dakota couple is doing both. They're stopping to see family for 9 nuptials in 9 states while trying to take down 9 world records on a cross-country extravaganza.
We'll come to you, we'll spend 3 or 4 hours at least with you, have dinner, and
wasting no time at their Wisconsin wedding trying to break the mark for most water slides done in a wedding dress. While they're road tripping, these guys are wrapping up a road trip. Get it? They just conquered a 53-day, 3,100-mile journey from Washington State to Hawaii, raising money for the nonprofit Aerial Recovery along the way. Crossing the Pacific must have helped align priorities, because one crew member quickly popped the question.
Very grateful for everyone for the experience. It's been incredible.
If you're going to be in Hawaii, might as well see the sights, such as this cool view of Kilauea. Well, not cool, hot
magma, whatever. The USGS flew over the very active volcano, letting us look directly down at the lava. Scientists expect the historic episode 50 of the ongoing eruption to go down soon. Take a peek at the galactic bulge. Their words, not mine. The European Space Agency says this is the largest and most detailed photo ever made of the Milky Way's center. It took 26 hours for space telescope Euclid to capture 60 million stars, a molecular cloud, and a nebula packaging up one remarkable mosaic. Finally, take a look at the world's oldest soccer ball or football to our foreign friends.
I've heard it both ways.
Thanks, Sean. The ball was discovered between 1540 and 1570, hiding in a Scottish castle once used by Mary, Queen of Scots. As part of the World Cup festivities, the ball will be on display at the Coral Gables Museum in Miami through June 27th. For Take a Look at This, I'm Patrick Cornell.
Looks like it's sliding good.
Sean Dillard and his 11-year-old son Aiden are on a mission.
22 veterans commit suicide every day, and that's too many veterans being lost every single day.
Sean is an Army veteran and has struggled with his mental health ever since serving our country from 2006 through 2011. Aiden says he wants to do this to bring awareness to veteran suicide, not just for his dad, but for all veterans.
This is really important because I've seen my dad down at his worst, and I've helped him through it. But if I can do this, then veterans can get help.
They are preparing to row what's called the Great Loop.
It's the American waterways that go down the Mississippi, all the way down to the Gulf, down around Florida, back up the East Coast through New York, through Canada, and through the Great Lakes. It's over 6,000 miles.
You may be asking, how long is that going to take?
So the plan is we will row for roughly 2.5 months. Since Aiden is only 11 years old, we are going to stretch it over the course of about 4 years, which just means that we're going to be able to have a bigger impact.
Better one. That's 10 weeks every summer for 4 years. I asked Aiden if he was ready for the challenge, and he has no fear. Sean and Aiden, along with Aiden's brother Dawson, recently drove across the country to pick up their rowboat named Emma. Since the boat is now home in Southern Illinois, Aiden says everything is starting to fall into place.
Getting the boat makes me really more excited because that's another step of our journey that we're able to actually do this.
Sean agrees and says the journey has only just begun.
Just seeing Emma, it was just, everything just started coming together. It was that aha moment of just, it's real.
Celebrations are officially underway for America's 250th, with the flagship event here on the National Mall setting things up for a special 4th of July. The gates are open at the Great American State Fair.
Happy birthday, America.
President Trump kicked off the festivities in the nation's capital Wednesday night with a rally for America.
Everything he does is always the best.
Now the attention turns to the fair, with hundreds of thousands of people expected to attend through the 4th of July weekend.
It's everything you want from a state fair, plus a birthday party, plus some great American pride.
Aside from fair staples, the event also features exhibits from all 56 states and U.S. territories.
Anything you might want to learn or experience, it's right here. It's at your feet. These state pavilions are larger than my first apartment.
Tickets are free, but attendees should expect airport-level security to get in.
I was, 18 years old when we had the 200th celebration. This dwarfs it.
The fair runs through July 10th, and people from across the country are excited to be here on opening day.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
This is a lot different than the county fairs we grew up going to in rural Arkansas. I'm just glad they do this effort to celebrate 250 years.
In addition to the fair, D.C. is hosting a grand parade and the largest fireworks show ever on July 4th. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, Plus, 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates, featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime more your style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro. The Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
But I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker-Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.
This is what he's going to tell you.
Trying to find the first place to put a body.
No, sir. The only thing they could do was kill him.
The jury and to find the defendant